There's a couple different Nintendo Switch 2 stories I want to discuss with you all today that are floating around online that have some quite exciting implications for the games lineup for the console that we can expect to see, in addition to how we can maybe expect some of our Switch 1 games that we are purchasing maybe today if you are picking up Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. And I would assume that if this indeed is true, what some data miners have found, that this would apply to many other Switch games. So we're going to break down all of that, but there is the idea that our Switch 1 games, at least some of the more recent releases, may indeed have it in their code that they are ready to go for 4K resolution at the next gen console. And we are not talking native 4K, we'll dive into all of that deeper, but rather something in the game's code is pointing to 4K resolution being supported, and there's some debate online on the validity of this, so we'll present it as it is. But then we also have a fan beloved series, and one that I love personally, Kingdom Hearts, that could be coming over not only with all of the classic games to Switch 2, as we only have them currently as cloud ports for the current Nintendo Switch, but also the upcoming Kingdom Hearts 4 that we only have a teaser trailer for so far, and this could indeed be a day and date launch for Switch 2. So we'll get on the same page with all of these details. Before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. And we have to first kick it off with the Kingdom Hearts story that is floating around online, because this comes to us from none other than Midori, who you're probably hearing a lot online. This is a Pioro level leaker, if you will, and the reason people are saying that, and myself included, is just if you look at this individual's track record, they have been putting out a lot more recently that we have to wait to see to come to fruition, but everything that they put out there ultimately so far has come true as far as what I can personally research on my own. Their track record is essentially spotless. They're in that tier 1 slot where when they say something online, you want to pay attention to it with a high level, not just somebody who's a random Zippo just throwing things out there, and then we see if 1 out of the 10 things they predict actually comes true. This person definitely seems to have some concrete, solid connections within the industry. And to see exactly what they're saying about Kingdom Hearts and the Switch 2, let's quickly hop over to My Nintendo News and read through their detailed typed up article together. Midori, Kingdom Hearts 4 and the rest of the series could be coming to Switch 2. Proactive video game leaker Midori continues to spill the beans on a number of projects, and the latest she's heard is that the long-awaited Kingdom Hearts 4 might come to Nintendo Switch 2 from Square Enix. That's not all. She's also heard the rest of the game in the beloved Kingdom Hearts series, which are available on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch via cloud versions, could also come to the Switch successor. Midori says that Square Enix is also looking to collaborate with other studios for the Kingdom Hearts franchise. The Japanese company has previously said it is looking at making future games multi-platform rather than creating platform exclusives. And you can then see the tweet in question, which is actually part of a thread, which I will mention in a minute, but the entire series in Kingdom Hearts 4 might come to Nintendo hardware, and more outside IP collaboration is planned for Kingdom Hearts series in the future. The same source also mentioned that there was not a Final Fantasy X remake in development, but confirmed multiple DQ projects and Final Fantasy IX remake. Now, what Midori was replying to in that tweet thread that you can see further up, it is indeed a claim from somebody that apparently was a source they didn't trust around the Kingdom Hearts entire series coming to Steam, and with some specific names involved that basically convinced Midori that this is a true source and that you should probably pay attention to the other things that they were saying. And those are the claims that Kingdom Hearts 4 will come to Nintendo Switch 2, and so will the entire series. That is very exciting because if you've been around on this channel for a while, you know I've complained plenty of times in any sale video or even when the official announcement happened that it was kind of a punch in the gut to hear that the entire Kingdom Hearts series is now playable on a Nintendo console for the first time. And how do you give it to a Square Enix? It's legitimately all a freaking cloud port. I was very disappointed with that. I would play it any other way than through the cloud if at all possible. All of those games, with the exception of Kingdom Hearts 3, would have ran easily on the Nintendo Switch, and this was clearly one of those things where, because Kingdom Hearts 3, you would have had to jump through some hoops to get it to run effectively on the current Switch hardware. Square Enix just didn't feel like messing with it, maybe didn't feel like it was worth the investment. But long story short, we got Kingdom Hearts the bootleg way that nobody wants to ideally play. You want to have a native gameplay experience. If you care about input, response time, and things, and you just don't want to be taken out of the experience, you want to play it natively, and they're selling it at a full price even via the cloud. And when you look at the entire series collection on PS4 that you can go pick up for like $20 anywhere online, it was kind of a slap in the face to Nintendo fans, in my opinion. So this is good news. I do think that this lines up perfectly with Square Enix's larger strategy that they've committed to essentially all of their investors, and just made a public statement that they're going aggressively multi-platform. So don't expect the big Final Fantasy games and the big Kingdom Hearts installments in the future to be platform exclusives anymore. Square Enix is not making enough money with that strategy, partnering up with PlayStation exclusively like they have done in recent years. And I think that while this is kind of a leak that I guess you can't entirely say is 100% legit until it happens, the source had good info on the Kingdom Hearts series coming to Steam, and it does indeed seem like Square Enix is just telling us straight up what their strategy is, and that lines up perfectly with them just kind of throwing everything on Nintendo Switch 2. I think we'll also see the new Mana game launch on Switch 2. Like, I think the mindset to have with Square Enix right now is anything they publish is now on the table for all platforms, and that includes Nintendo's next-gen hardware. And we even saw Nintendo's stock prices surge days and days in a row just because of the news that Square Enix would be bringing everything to Nintendo consoles. So this is good news for me. I hope we get it sooner rather than later. I would love to see the original Kingdom Hearts entire collection launch like day and date with the Switch 2, or at least right around the launch window. And then let's get Kingdom Hearts 4 information as that becomes available. We're clearly right around the corner from June, so maybe we will get some more detailed trailers on the gameplay and what it looks like at that point in time. There's some inside claims that it looks very different from the original trailer we saw, which is fine with me because that trailer didn't do a whole lot for me, to be honest. Let me know if you guys were, if your interest was piqued in it or not for Kingdom Hearts 4, but I'm excited to see what's next for this beloved franchise and Switch 2. And let me know in the comments down below if you would be picking up anything Kingdom Hearts for Nintendo's next-gen console. Okay, so next up, you're probably well aware that today is the launch day at the time of filming for Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Now, there's been a lot of talk online about this game. I am picking it up myself today physically. I didn't want to pick up this one digitally, and kind of sometimes I'll get it off of a different region eShop, so I have a little bit of a heads up to dive into the gameplay and do a video for you guys. I may or may not still end up doing that. I really just want to enjoy my time with it. It's a beloved GameCube classic that I never got a chance to go through to any level of completion. I have some vague memories of playing it briefly, but I did not own it. So it was one of mine that I was missing from my collection. I'm excited to go through this thing, this classic game, for the first time. But you probably saw some of the controversy around it. It runs at 30 frames per second instead of 60, which is a big thing for people when it is a remake of a beloved GameCube classic. You think that it would at least match the frame rate of what the GameCube release was. Now, there's some mixed debates out on how much this affects the gameplay. Some people say if you just recently played the GameCube one, you're definitely going to notice it. Other people say no, the visuals are totally worth it. How vibrant and lively this game looks. 100% offset the downgrade to 30 frames per second. And since I have such limited memory of the GameCube game, I'm assuming for me personally, the 30 frames per second thing isn't going to be an issue, but I do definitely understand the want for the original frame rate that the GameCube game ran at when you get the remake version. And there may be some good news on that front, although not exactly tied to this data mine. It is something that is conceivable that Nintendo might do with a number of their different Switch games, and that is the conversation and idea on whether or not we will see enhanced versions of the same games that we own today via backwards compatibility. And there's a lot of debate on how Nintendo might handle this, if they go the Sony route where you have certain PS4 games that got upgraded to PS5 level visuals and better frame rates and resolutions and things, and you pay like a one-time $10 upgrade fee if you already own the game, and they sometimes also re-release it with a native PS5 version or a PS5 box art, and it comes with all of those performance improvements in the initial game file. So Nintendo could do it that way as well, and I wouldn't put it past them doing that, something like a $10 upgrade fee, and also just repackaging and reselling some of the later Nintendo Switch games that we've seen released with a Nintendo Switch 2 box art, and it just comes with those enhancements out of the gate. But the reason that Paper Mario: Thousand-Year Door has spawned a lot of conversation around this online specifically has to do with some lines of code that do show that there is support for 4K resolution within this game, or at least it is in the code. And I do want to preface this by saying that I am not a game developer, and there's a lot of debate online on whether or not this is relevant code or if this is just some code that's sitting there that's unused, and you do have to question why Nintendo would put that in there or why it would be included in there if it's not going to be used. So it's interesting enough for me to talk about and propose the idea that maybe we will get some 4K upscaled games via DLSS from our classic Switch library on Switch 2. I think that would be a huge win, and it is in the realm of possibility that Nintendo may do it. And the tweet in question that's really been blowing up online reads as follows: there seems to be code handling 4K resolutions in the new Paper Mario: Thousand-Year Door remake. No idea if this is normal for Switch games or not, but I thought it was interesting. And now you can then see within the game code that you can indeed see 2160 and 3840 supported beneath your 1080 by 1920 and 1280 to 720. So the different resolutions, 720p, 1080p, and 4K as we refer to it, all found within the game code of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, which begs the question, is Nintendo doing some advanced work for certain games that are coming out in the later part of the Nintendo Switch's life cycle? And I definitely think that there's a strong possibility that the answer to that is yes. We had reports like a while back when everybody thought the Switch Pro was a thing that Nintendo was asking their developers to get their games 4K ready. Now, we don't know if there's a certain late life cycle games that they just want to have ready to update right away, and maybe developers are in the code for certain titles putting in that legwork now to have the base resolution available there in 4K, and then it's as simple as them going in and enabling a performance update that will allow Paper Mario Thousand Year Door to potentially run at not only a 4K upscaled resolution via DLSS, but also something like 60 frames per second, especially in dock mode, because we are clearly talking about a generational leap in power when we go to Nintendo's next-gen console, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that we're going to see Nintendo do this with a number of their heavy hitter titles and some late Switch lifecycle titles. I mean, we have the outstanding rumors and leaks around U-King-O, which is the code name for Breath of the Wild, but the -O signifies that it's some other version of Breath of the Wild, and that also lines up with those Gamescom 2023 reports where Nintendo was supposedly showing off a 4K version of Breath of the Wild running behind closed doors on a targeted spec PC hardware, essentially showing to their developers this is what the Switch 2 is capable of. And they showed a 4K version of Breath of the Wild with essentially no load times, and that was one of the big tech demo type ideas that we originally thought it might have been at that time, and it could just be a broader project for Nintendo to re-release a number of their classics with 4K on the box. I definitely think that's something that is in the realm of possibility, and I think that as we see more pieces of code that just don't make sense to be in there like this for a 4K resolution on a recent Nintendo Switch game, that it's worth having that conversation that this could indeed be on the table. Again, it's not official. There's some debate on whether or not this is indicative of any of Nintendo's bigger plans for their Switch classic games for Switch 2, but I do think that we're going to see backwards compatibility for sure, and I'm hopeful that because they are in the evergreen software game like they are, where we see these games sell for years and years past their launch date, that Nintendo will want to just kind of continue to sell them on their next-gen platform via backwards compatibility for as long as possible. 1.2 billion pieces of software are out there for the Switch that they've successfully sold, and I don't think they want to slow that train down, and they want to give a reason for people who just get into the Switch 2 for the first time in that ecosystem, a reason to go back and buy all of the Nintendo Switch games that they potentially skipped up if they were never a Switch owner. So both of these pieces of information are exciting to me. I want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, what you make of both the different stories. Do you think we're getting all of the Kingdom Hearts series and Kingdom Hearts 4 specifically for Nintendo Switch 2, potentially even day and date? And do you think that the Thousand Year Door 4K resolution being in the game code signifies that we should expect some kind of upgrade path for a lot of our Switch games, or at least the ones towards the end of the Switch's life cycle? And do you think that Nintendo will handpick select Switch games to go back and update and have available via backwards compatibility and potentially even repackage them for the Switch? And how many games do you think they do that with? A bunch of them, or just a handpicked select few? So thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. Make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave the video, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.